this is Lydia. How can we help you?
Ma'am, I just called the crisis hotline and you're already being rude?
Hello?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, you're already being rude and I just called the crisis hotline?
I'm sorry, who are you speaking to?
You can't hear me now?
I think we have a bad connection.
We have a bad connection.
Hello?
Yes.
Ma'am?
Yes, my phone is acting up, ma'am. I haven't been able to get law enforcement to do anything about it. Okay, so this is the crisis hotline.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm in a crisis.
Okay, what type of help are you looking for?
You want to know what type of help I'm looking for? If I'm in a crisis, I don't know what kind of advocacy and direction.
Okay. Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
You sure this is the crisis hotline?
Yes, ma'am. What city are you calling from?
Dallas.
Okay, you're in Dallas. And are you currently in danger?
Yes. I have 17 false arrests. I get gang stalked every day. And each environment that I come to escape the abuse, they bring it there. They drop off their own security in my environments to enforce crimes and harassment. And each time, like I'm at church, they drop off security there and have them guard me. And then when I reach out for help at churches, then they threaten a criminal trespass. I've been assaulted and arrested at the domestic violence support group, pushed and shoved and removed from Crowley. And then I came there under a fake name. And then a car sped up like it was going to hit me. And you guys didn't follow protocol and cover for it. And then put me out and sent me to the bridge, which is highly corrupt. They violate a whole bunch of people here in order to violate me. So I need to be in witness protection, but they bullied and violated and intimidated me there. There's child abuse going on and CPS covers for it, as well as every environment that I'm in. My son has a hit and run, someone deliberately hitting me. All law enforcement agencies I go to, all the way in Tyler and Texarkana, cover for crimes. I'm targeted by the government out of this abuse and no one has racked up these felony charges. So I go each location I go to, they're hacking my phone, committing crimes, having me speak to counterfeits, defrauding me out of funds left and right. Depriving me of any avenue to escape their abuse because they hire people in all my environments to enforce crimes. Knowing full-blown, well, no one would believe it. So I tried to catch him off guard and came to a domestic violence rally. Marshals came there and shut that down early. Would that make a party feel safe if they had to go through that, ma'am?
I heard you say that you've been to the family place.
You're talking low, ma'am. Can you speak up?
You said you've been to the family place?
Yeah, that's all you heard?
No, I heard you said stalking.
Yeah, the family place, after I told them all the chaos I had went through, they told me that they were full and lied, and I never heard back from them. They pretended like they called other places. They didn't put me in a hotel. They didn't really properly try to assist me or advocate for me like any other location I've been at. When the police weren't there, interrupting and assaulting and arresting me, preventing me from getting services. Then they hacked my phone, committing crimes, controlled my calls, knowing no one would ever believe it, having me call counterfeits that cover for all my experiences, and then a lot of times are verbally abusive and emotionally abusive, rather. And pretend like there's no way on this planet for over 5 years to get help to get out of abuse.
What is it that you're looking for at this time?
Our advocacy. If I told you all the things that I said, and I'm trying to help people get their charges and incriminate everyone that wants to be involved in this insanity. I'm trying to help them go to prison. So if the family place wanted to shut down a whole rally because I was present, and if the family place put me on property because the car sped up like it was going to hit me instead of protecting me, then that makes the family place the conspirator. And I'm trying to help people rack up the charges they've earned for leaving me and my family in jeopardy. So if they wanted to abuse their power as a domestic violence organization, having me call counterfeits that hung up in my face for the victim's compensation, then they need their charges. So I go place to place to place, and I have criminals enforcing abuse and criminal activity and security and everybody else in my environment covering for criminal activity. What am I supposed to do? I've been trying to get you guys your charges for a long time, because I think that it's sadistic and sick for you to be a domestic violence crisis hotline in a location and then you conspire with it for profit or whatever reasoning you're doing it, and then try to slander me in the process. So you guys have been playing games, violating me, keeping me in jeopardy for a long time, but I keep getting referred back to you. The case manager at this homeless shelter referred me back to you. He said he couldn't help, period, like no one else could. So it's left me trapped in chaos. I've already reached out to my daughter, my daughter's stepmom and dad. They're not responding. I don't think that abusers should be able to enlist a multitude of people to keep me away from my kids and loved ones, and then enlist them to be abusers. I think people should have been in prison a long time ago, ma'am. So are you conspiring with it, like you've been doing?
I'm a little confused about what, but see, if you're concerned, do you need, like, legal? Have you spoken with
Okay, this is a crisis hotline, and like you've been doing years, you don't want me to know what you can do. And you're asking me what I need, and instead of you advocating for me like your responsibility.
But
you were supposed to take authority because you're trained, and then give me good things that I should do to protect myself against insanity that I had to endure for years.
And
why won't you guys do that?
And this has happened at every shelter?
All of them, yes, including yours, every hotline for 5 years. They are condescending and abusive and pretend like it's a bottomless pit to escape abuse. I'm relentlessly stalked and guarded. And the criminal activities enforced around me everywhere.
I just don't know how to respond.
Your representative there had me call counterfeits, pretending like it was victims' compensation, giving me all my personal information, and they hung up in my face twice. And I could never get anything resolved. In a multitude of locations, pretend like they're calling help, 5, 6, 7 locations, and they pretend like all of them can't help for 5 years. Leaving me in jeopardy. And then I go to the police department covers for crimes and pretend like it's a bottomless pit and it's impossible for me to escape abuse there. The DA Family Violence Division. Everywhere I go, there's someone dropped off and enforcing criminal activity. Are you there, ma'am?
Can you give me your name? Yes. Can you give me your name?
It's Kiana Clark.
What is it again? Happy with the treatment?
I'm sorry?
Have you tried other resources outside of Dallas?
Okay, so I've called the emergency crisis hotline. And like for 5 years, I've said all that I've said. And you want me to call another location? The problem of it is that this has been a revolving door of all locations, and say call other locations. I'm just trying to prove it so I can get enough evidence for this to end. Because you have to see it to believe it. So the con is, I'm not going to give you the services here. It's not conspiracy to violate rights crime. No, that's not what's happening with this criminal. I'm just for 5 years at every location going to tell you to go somewhere else. But we want people to believe that we're not purposely violating your rights. That's the con. But every location I come in contact with wants me to go to another location. And you're not concerned that a car sped up like he was going to hit me and I got put off property for it instead of the protocol being followed, and then they wanted me to go to a homeless shelter police? That doesn't concern you? What about me getting assaulted and arrested at New Beginnings for attending a domestic violence support group? What about getting pushed and shoved at the DA? What about trying to get help at Texas Rangers and then the police laughing and arresting me? What about my son getting hit with a car, someone deliberately hit me, ran off roads, guns pulled on me, traps on buses and trains? 17 false arrests, harassed and tormented every day. In every environment that I'm in covers for it, including family members. Denied police come, interrupt me speaking to social workers, even getting therapy to heal from all the damage that's done from all their psychological abuse that no one would believe. Then have the audacity to break into my phone, defraud me out of funds, having me pay a phone bill, manipulate my calls so I don't get them. Stay casually having a conversation over here. And then controlling, having me speak to counterfeits, knowing people didn't even know that was possible. So I call all over the United States, and people are covering for crimes and being abusive in the process. But this is an emergency crisis hotline. What can you do?
Well, ma'am,
what's your name again? What's your name?
This is Lydia.
Can you speak up, ma'am? Can you speak up? Can you speak up?
It's all legal. I am speaking up.
You sound like my son. Typically, if you're not trying to talk low, you say, okay, I'll try to speak up. That's not normal to say, I am speaking up, if I ask you to speak up.
Ma'am, what services are you looking for?
What services are you willing to provide, ma'am? I'm just trying to help you guys go to jail.
Ma'am, if you're not aware of what services you're looking for, I'm not going to be able to help you.
You haven't been able to help me in your con for years. So if this is the emergency crisis hotline, what do you do here? Why are you unwilling to tell me if that's the con?
Ma'am, if there's no services that I can help you with, I'm going to have to...
You're talking low again, ma'am.
If there's no services I can help you with, I'm going to have to...
I think you're deliberate. Did you say that you're going to have to hang up? Is that why you're talking low?
Ma'am, is there something I can help you with? Are you actively fleeing domestic violence?
I just said all that, and you're asking me if I'm... See, they want to make it psychologically abusive. When I wasn't recording, it was worse.
Call. If you find yourself in an emergency, call 911, okay?
You're hanging up? That's it. So, if someone that's not mentally stable is allowed to manipulate and abuse all this much power and nothing is repetitively done, like I said before COVID, are you safe? Obviously, no one in these environments with government officials, they're blinded by funds, shelters, all of them. But you sit and you let corrupt police come and assault someone and arrest them for attending a domestic violence support group. And you're forgetting that you're supposed to protect people because they have guns and badges. You sit there and you look and you witness it and do nothing. At church, you threatened to give me a criminal trespass from trying to flee this insanity. And then I got drugged out of another one. So I ask you, because a long time people have not cared about my well-being, are you safe when the government is competitively allowed to abuse this much power and nothing's done? Stealing attorney general paid child support payments, social security benefits to contribute to financial abuse, having me speak with defrauding me out of funds on this counterfeit network, and nothing is repetitively done. Violating people in the whole environment, all the people there, so they can violate me.